this afternoon at the City Hall in Dublin, Georgia, and we are talking to two of the members of the Dublin-Laurens County International Committee. I'm excited to learn that we have an international committee here in Dublin-Laurens County, and I would like for you guys, I'm here with Mr. Royce Hall and Miss Laura Miller, and I want you guys to tell me a little bit about the committee and what its purpose is, and then we will talk about the most recent event that you guys were involved in. Okay.
Okay, yes. Well, the Dublin International Committee is a committee that was started back in 1998. Mayor Bob Walker was the mayor then, and actually that's when I basically started working for the city. And it is just a relationship between Osaka, Japan, and Dublin, Georgia, simply because of YKK's plant that's here. And this room is dedicated to them. So what better way to let YKK know that we have great citizens here. We have an exchange program that goes abroad to Osaka, Japan, and just live out their culture and tradition over there. And so we just, just basically just trying to bring in the unity and the togetherness.
And as a committee, I understand that we do these cultural exchanges and that you guys work really closely when the members from the international side come in from Japan or visitors, and you set up events for them. You even host them in your homes. So I know that you've been a host before, so talk to us a little bit about that experience.
Okay. So the International Committee and the group of volunteers that serve on the committee work with YKK, but also with other foreign industries or foreign-based industries in Dublin. And anytime we have international visitors, the committee is called upon to help welcome new people to our community, to help tell them about our community, tell them about our schools, about what the infrastructure is like, tell them all about all the great things happening in Dublin. And we do host guests from time to time. Dublin has a recurring group of Japanese students that come from Osaka, but we've also hosted students from Ireland and other places, and we have hosted them in our homes. We've had them for dinner. We meet them in other places in town, and it's great to learn about other cultures, and I find that it's great for my kids to be able to be exposed to that as well.
Yeah, I think that's, probably one of the reasons that you started this program is to, just broaden the minds and the experiences of these children who are fortunate enough to be selected to participate in this program. So I guess next, talk to us about who is available, how they're selected, what they have to do.
First, let me mention that Janice Nazarin is the president of this current committee.
Mm-hmm.
And she has done a great job throughout the years of putting this team together. And, the selection it's very intense because you want everybody to go, but, only just a few can go. It's like playing baseball, softball, whatever. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose.
Yeah.
So, just a few students was chosen, and all the students that interviewed, there was about 25 students from the different schools of Trinity, Dublin, East Lawrence, and homeschool. And that selection involved an application that was filled out, application that was prepared and sent to the different schools. And they filled the applications out, and we had a time set to interview them here in the international room.
Mm-hmm.
And that process was an all-day process. We started about 7, 8 o'clock that morning and wound up about 7, 8 o'clock that night. So we wanted to be thorough and that everybody had a chance because, again, we represented the city. And Mayor Best, he do make appointments for this committee as well. So we do represent the city. So we wanted to be a fair and a prosperous selection.
Mm-hmm.
Those 9 students were selected fairly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So you had about 25 applicants this year, and about 9 were selected to make the trip over. Right. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things they got to experience. I can only imagine that it was definitely possibly the first flight, definitely probably the first foreign country.
It was the first flight for a couple of the students. It was the first foreign country for several of the students. We flew into Tokyo from a direct flight from Atlanta. It was a 14-and-a-half-hour flight, which was a lot for a lot of the students. It was a lot for me.
Yeah, it's a lot.
14 and a half hours, landed in Tokyo. Then we spent the next day touring Tokyo. We did a full day tour of the Tokyo Tower. We went to a tea ceremony, went to several gardens, went to, saw the Imperial Palace, went to a temple, saw the Japanese street fairs, and the cherry blossoms were in full bloom, which was absolutely gorgeous. After that, the next day we went to Osaka. We were welcomed by our host with YKK. And that's at that point, we all broke up and stayed with host families. During that week, we took day trips to areas around Osaka, places in Osaka. We went to Sendai. We went to the area where the tsunami hit in 2011. We went up to the Pine Islands, and it's just absolutely gorgeous up there. Then on Saturday, each of the host homes spent a full day with whoever was staying with them, the kids or the chaperones, and everybody went somewhere different. We actually went up in the mountains of Japan where there was 6 feet of snow on the ground, and went to the hot springs, to a resort area. So we experienced all kind of different foods. The culture was just amazing.
And also, I just want to say, learning to use chopsticks was very challenging, but I did it for the team, and ate some sushi for the team. I me, I like eating cooked food, but I did try it for the team, and it was different, and did it for the team. So, but anyway, Mr. Ito, he's the one that does Jin Ito. They call him Ito-san, and he's the one that was watching me use the chopsticks. I wonder why he walked away from the table, so he came back with a fork. But anyway, we did it for the team. So.
Well, that sounds wonderful. So you two, you're both on the committee.
Yes.
How is it that you got selected to be the chaperones on the trip for this year? You and there was one additional person that's not here, Miss Kay Donaldson, was
Right.
also one of the third chaperone.
Okay. Again, I've been on the committee for about 6 years, and just was working diligently to make sure things working in order in the background. And then the mayor, Bess, he appointed me to be on the committee. And Miss Burns, Dolores Burns, she recommended me when she was chair of the committee. And so in essence of working with her and the staff, with the Irish kids that came over and the Japanese families that came over, they saw that I was very interested in helping out my community. And that's what I love doing. So I was selected because of my hard work and effort.
I do not have a problem believing that at all. Only in my brief time that I have been involved with Dublin and the activities, I have ran across you so many times, Mr. Hall, and you always have a pleasant, exterior and smile on your face, and I think that you represent the Dublin community so well, and so I'm not surprised that you were elected to be on this trip.
And let me add this too, as I put it in the newspaper sometime before going on the trip, there's one language I always known, and I got it from my mother, and that always welcomed people, and that was a smile.
That's right. That's right. We are from the South. We're famous
That's
for
right.
that.
That's right.
That's
So-
right. Well, I was asked to chaperone the committee after one of the other chaperones who planned to go was unable to go for an unforeseen reason. And I jumped at the chance. My daughter was able to go on this trip in 2016. She traveled to Japan. And I hosted 2 students from Japan last year in my home. The year before that, I had also hosted 2 students who came from Ireland. Mm-hmm. And both of those years, we had the welcome dinner and reception at my home. And we've just had the best time. I knew several people on the international committee. Mm-hmm. And then recently they did ask me to join the committee, which I felt like I was already a part because I had always been involved in the student exchange programs. Mm-hmm. But now I'm happy to be able to volunteer my time and serve on the committee.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm sure that you're both extremely deserving. When was the trip? What was the dates of the trip?
We flew out from Atlanta on March 29th. Mm-hmm. That was a Friday, and we returned home on Sunday, April 7th.
So fairly recently.
Yes.
That's amazing.
We're just getting over the jet lag.
I bet a day for every hour
Yeah.
that you're away is the old saying.
And
So
Yeah.
I find myself waking up about 5 or 6 in the morning now. So I'm trying to get back to my American style of sleeping, which is getting up about 7 for me, but most Americans probably do get up early. But the thing that really caught my attention in Japan, at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's daylight. I mean,
Yes.
the sun is up, and so that's what kind of kept me up. And also, while there, I kept getting phone calls about 1 or 2 in the morning because there's a 13-hour difference from the United States.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure that, you guys were both just a pleasure to have on the trip, and I'm so excited for you guys that you had the opportunity to share in that.
It was a wonderful experience. I'm very thankful to the International Committee for just thinking of asking me to go, because I had a great time. To be able to share it with my son too on the trip was even more special. And the home where I stayed in Japan was the same host family that my daughter stayed with in 2016. So I was able to meet the people that took care of her and
How special.
and thank them for taking such good care of her when she was, so far away from home.
Well, that's great. Like I said, I'm just proud to learn about this, and I'm just, pleased that we have something that is this forward-thinking, to allow these young people the opportunity to have this cross-cultural experience. I really believe it could be something that could, change their outlook on life for the rest of their
Oh,
lives.
absolutely. I can tell you that from experience. It has changed my daughter's outlook on everything since she
Sure.
went. But these kids that we went with were absolutely a wonderful group of
Awesome.
teenagers.
Awesome.
Some of them knew each other, some didn't. They got along great. They were respectful. They were kind. They were welcoming. And they had open eyes and open ears the whole time. They tried new foods. None of them complained. It was just a great experience.
Wow.
No incidents whatsoever. And being that knowing that the kids didn't know each other, we want to give reverence to Mayor Walker. Our initial icebreaker was at his house, so he opened up his home so that we can bring the kids together so they can learn one another. We played games such as like charade,
Yeah.
just being on teams, to learn one another's personality. So,
Wow. Well, it sounds like quite an endeavor.
yes, it was.
Congratulations to you both,
Thank
and
you.
really to our city for having this opportunity for
Yes.
everyone.
Right, and I do want to give a shout out back. I know they may not hear this, but to Yuya, he's my nephew. He was a 2-year-old that lived in the house, and his mother, upon getting back here, getting back, she sent me a video of him running downstairs to my room. Right, son. So he opens up the door, and I wasn't there, so he was sad.
Oh,
That's a good.
special,
Yes.
special memories.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you both for sharing your stories and
Thank
just
you.
the learning that we have about, this committee and what they're doing here in our town.
Hi, I'm Jeff Cannon, President of Citizens Bank of Lawrence County. If you're presently a customer of ours, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing us to be your bank. We appreciate the confidence you have placed in us and enjoy providing you with the most up-to-date banking products and services to satisfy your needs. If you're not a current customer, we would like to invite you to stop by and let us show you true community banking at its best. We concentrate on our local community, doing our part to make Dublin-Laurens County a better place to live, work, play, and retire. We recently introduced 2 new products, eStatements and Access Now, our mobile banking app. Both of these products will help to make banking with us more convenient and will also help to provide you with a safer and more secure banking experience. So for all your banking needs, just give us a call or stop by and let us show you personal banking at its best. Citizens Bank of Lawrence County, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
You've got miles and miles of grass to mow. So you're going to need a machine built to perform. Day in and day out. Season after season. You're going to need a Gravely. Built to mow the distance.
Now at Myers Equipment and Supplies in Dublin.
Now we are here with Mr. Oliver Steppe, and he is the president of YKK AP for the Americas. Tell us a little bit about just YKK in general, who the company is, what they do?
Sure, sure. I'm happy to do that. YKKAP America is basically we're a manufacturing company. Our main product lines include what would be known to as commercial fenestration systems, which means we make building envelopes that you might typically see a lot of glass and aluminum around a structure. It could be a small store, or it could be an office building, or those sorts of things. So we design, manufacture, and engineer those types of products that we manufacture in Dublin, Georgia, and ship all over the country. We also have another business segment in the residential industry, where we manufacture windows and doors for new home construction, replacement, and single-family homes and
Yeah, I think
apartments and things like
more
that.
people would be
Yeah.
familiar with probably that
be.
arm of the country.
Could be, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
the company, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we do, and that's what we make. And we have our manufacturing base is the state of Georgia, and we have two plants here. We have one in Dublin, Georgia, and one in Macon, Georgia. And Dublin is a commercial products plant, and Macon is a residential products plant.
Great. And you said there were 400 or 500 YKK employees here in
Yeah,
Georgia?
there is in the state of Georgia. In total, we're running around 800 or 900 across the United States. But our largest base is here in the state of Georgia.
That's great.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
so happy to have you
Well,
guys,
thank you.
here in our town.
Sure.
And especially, talk to us about this program. It's my understanding that it's about a 20-year running program.
Yeah, absolutely. The Dublin, Georgia, Osaka, Japan sister city relationship. Actually, the agreement was signed in 1998, but the first student trip was in 1999. So this year, 2019, was actually the 20th year anniversary of an exchange taking place. And the program was originally started and led by some folks in my organization, YKKP, here in Dublin, Georgia. And we worked closely with the city of Dublin. At the time, it was Mayor Robert Walker. And some of our original founders here in Georgia, as well as the mayor and the city, agreed to let's set up a sister city program. And it's just part of our philosophy in terms of where we have a major manufacturing base. We like to do a lot of community outreach and become part of the landscape of the community. And the exchange program was a great idea on how to foster cultural exchange across, between the United States and Japan.
Yes.
And we are an overall globally Japanese-owned corporation, although our American company is an independent operation. So this is one, technique or program we put together with the city to promote cultural exchange.
Right. And so we have this sister city idea that you're talking about. And if I understand correctly, they take turns. And one year
Correct.
some students
That's
from
right.
here go there.
That's right.
And then the next year they come
That's
here.
right. That's right. So every other year there would be either a group coming from Osaka area to Dublin, or vice versa, going from Dublin to Osaka. That's correct. Yeah.
And so tell me, I know that like YKKAP is the sponsor for the program. But then there's this committee that works
Correct.
on the selection and the application process.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how this all happens.
Yeah.
Mainly funding, like this
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
it's interesting how this program comes
Yeah,
about
yeah,
because
yeah.
this is a major undertaking to take 9
Yeah,
students and
yeah.
3 chaperones to.
It sure is, but I have to give the credit where the credit is due, and all of the credit really goes to the city of Dublin and the International Committee and all the volunteers that are working on behalf of really running the program. Of course, we helped inspire at the original inception of the program, and we support some operational logistics when the students get to Japan. But by and large, when U.S. And Dublin, Georgia-based students are traveling to Japan, most of the work is done by truly the community. So we play some role today, but I have to give all the credit to the city of Dublin and their associates, as well as the Dublin International Committee. The cost per student is about $2,000 to $3,000, but the student actually pays a portion of that. So we provide a stipend to that to support their
Sure.
and then we take care of a lot of the travel logistics, airline ticketing, and things like that. But all the heavy work in terms of soliciting students in the community that want to participate and going through the selection process is done independently by the Dublin International Committee. So I have to give them all the credit, honestly speaking.
Well, that's wonderful. It's just such a forward-thinking idea. 20 years in the making
it's
already.
wonderful.
I'm just so proud that
Yeah.
these young people have had this opportunity
Yeah.
to just broaden their minds
Yeah.
and see really
I think
the
it's a
other half of the
wonderful
world.
experience. We hear, when I had the opportunity to go through some of the orientations that the committee was having here, leading up to the trip, that you'd hear parents who knew other children that went or had chaperoned in the past. They talk about the relationships that have continued,
Sure.
throughout the years. And as excited as the students from the community are to go, the host families and often children in those host families are equally, if not more excited to welcome the students into their home.
Yeah.
So it's really a kind of, how to say, somewhat of a unique opportunity, not only for the children from the United States, but also for the children and the families in Japan.
Absolutely,
They'll
on
have
both sides. I'm
memories
sure
of a
it's very
lifetime.
rewarding under
Absolutely.
both sides. And like you say, I'm sure they've made relationships that have
absolutely.
lasted, years.
That's right.
Years.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't even be surprised to hear that possibly, some of these students from visits past have kept,
That's right.
possibly even traveled again.
Correct. That's right.
That's priceless.
Yeah.
That's really priceless. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us and educating us
You're very
about, what the program is and YKK's part
Great.
in, kind of initiating the program back in 1998.
Absolutely.
Thank you
for
so
having me.
much. Sure.
Thank you.
If you're in the market for affordable transportation, come on in to Dublin Auto Sales. Getting to work, school, or around town every day requires dependable transportation. And that's what you'll find at Dublin Auto Sales. Offering in-house financing too, so credit is never an issue. See Wayne Kemp or any of his friendly staff, Bill Topping, Alan Fields, TJ DeRochi, or Freddie Cook. Look for Dublin Auto Sales at 1705 Telfair Street and 406 North Jefferson. And also at 511 North Jefferson, where you'll find a great deal. Dublin Auto Sales, affordable transportation you can count on.
Hi, I'm Perry Williamson. We've been serving the Dublin-Laurens community for over 90 years here at Williamson's Bakery. We specialize in donuts, cakes, pies, cupcakes, cookies, birthday cakes. They're our business, not a hobby. And don't forget our large selection of cheese straws. For special orders, contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or better yet, just come get you some. When you stop by, be sure to try our all-new Pig in the Blankets. We have bacon, sausage, and chicken. We're located at 1634 Veterans Boulevard, Dublin, Georgia. For the hot, freshest donuts, come to Williamson's Bakery. We proudly support our area athletics.
Okay, we are back, and we have two of the students that were lucky enough to be accepted into the program this year. I have Elizabeth Brooks, and she is from East Laurens High School, and I also have Robin Sarant, and she's from Dublin High School. So welcome, ladies, and I just want to talk to you about the application process first of all. So let's just start with you. Tell me a little bit about the application process and what was required of you to even begin to be considered for this opportunity.
So we probably got, they sent notifications or announcements out to our schools maybe in September.
Mm-hmm.
And they were due maybe around the middle so they could start doing interviews and stuff around the end of September. And the application was just like, your high school transcript, like why would you want to come to Japan? Do you have a passport? Things of that sort. And then we turned in our transcript and we turned in the application and stuff like that. And then they gave us a notice saying that we had an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And the interview was with a few of the chaperones and some people also on the international committee. And so we just had to talk about just different things like would we be open to trying new things there and things of that sort. They had to talk with our parents. They asked us about how we would raise enough money for this and stuff like that. So I think they try to make it as easy as possible while also getting the most fit people for the job.
Sure. So, Elizabeth, talk to me about what you feel like was one of your strong points in the application process. Obviously, you said transcript, so maybe that you've proven that you are dedicated and you can have good grades in school?
Yes, ma'am. I do have very good grades in school. I'm very actively involved on the East Science High School soccer team. I'm in Beta Club, Skills USA. I have a 4.0 GPA, so I think that was definitely a strong point. I'm a very dedicated student.
Well, that's great, and I'm sure that that all 9 of you that were chosen specifically because you do show that you have the ability to excel and focus, and just represent your community well. I mean, I understand that there was a baseline for everybody so that it could be done as fairly as possible, and that you were highlighted just based on your previous experiences and probably your attitude and just your interview questions. And I don't doubt that both of you were probably really great candidates. Let me ask each one of you, what was your favorite experience from the trip?
My favorite experience was probably going to Matsushima. We went that Friday. It's just this very beautiful place. It's on the coast, and there's a temple there, and so we got to tour the temple. We had a wonderful tour guide. He was so funny, and we just got to take in the beauty of the area and stuff. We got to learn more about the history of that area and things of that sort, and it was probably my favorite area because it has such like a rich, all of Japan has a rich culture and history, but I think we really got to get an insight of what goes on there. And we also had a wonderful lunch there. It was like a 4-course meal. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. And so I think that entire day we actually went shopping at a huge train station there in Sendai, and we didn't have enough time to shop, but we
You
did.
never do.
You never do. And but we did have. It was a beautiful place, and I really enjoyed that day. It was probably my favorite day.
Excellent. What about you, Elizabeth?
Probably my favorite experience would be the food. I'm not a picky eater at all, but I am a vegetarian, so going over there I was a little worried because I know that's not a very common thing over there. But they have so many vegetables, things I've never even heard of. One day our host family made us these noodles, and they were made out of bamboo roots. Like, they shave the roots themselves and make noodles. And then one time we had lotus flower roots, and it was just crazy, all of the different types of food they had over there.
I bet. What an amazing experience, cultural experience for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm glad, and thank you guys so much for just talking about your time, and I'm very proud of you that you made the cut, and I feel certain that it probably opened your eyes to just a whole new world, and I hope that was just a wonderful experience for you and something that you'll remember forever.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, now we are here with 2 more students from Dublin High School. I have Willie Allen and Kamisha Miles, and they're going to tell us about their experiences in Japan. I want to talk to you a little bit about the application process. Kamisha, tell me what it is that you think was one of your strong points possibly in the application or interview to be selected by the committee.
I believe one of my strong points was because I've been traveling since I was in 9th grade. Last year I went to Germany with the City of Dublin Youth Council, so I think that was one thing that was kind of strong with me in my interview.
You probably already proven that you were a good representative of our state and city.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
about you, Willie? What do you think?
I would probably say my strong suit would be my sense of woe. I'm just very outgoing, and I'm so open-minded. I feel like I showed that a lot in my interview.
I bet so. You seem that way to me. You have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
beautiful smile, both of you, welcoming, and I think that is probably, it's something that we're prideful for because not only are we from the United States, but we're from the South.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're friendly and we're welcoming, and I'm sure that was something that they probably picked up on with both of you in the interview process. Talk to me a little bit about your experience, Kamisha. Tell me what it was like in Japan, maybe something that you ate that you had never seen before, or just any kind of interesting experience that you'd like to share with somebody.
I think one thing that was kind of weird I think me and Willie ate that, it was horse. And so it was completely raw. We tried it, and we both enjoyed it.
Horse?
Yes,
Did
ma'am.
I hear you correctly?
Yes, ma'am. Horse.
Yes. Nay, right? That's kind of horse.
Yes, ma'am. He tried it first, and then me and my roommate Robin, we went to a sushi bar, and it was really unique. It was kind of like it was like you order on a tablet, and they will send it out to your table. You won't have to move. Servers didn't have to move anything. So I think it was kind of unique the way they did things. It was very up to date and very. They used a lot of electronics over there, and like even with the toilets, they were just. It was just all electronics.
Just really like high tech.
Yes, ma'am.
Things
Very
that
high
were,
tech.
You know, I also think about when I see like Tokyo and cities in the east like that. You know, what about the neon lights? Did you see the cities with the just amazing neon light display?
Yeah, we got to see Tokyo, and Tokyo Tower was very nice. It was very tall. And then Tokyo during the nighttime was just like amazing because it was just like a whole bunch of bright lights everywhere.
Yes.
And it's like 10 times greater than Atlanta, and I don't go to Atlanta every day, so seeing Tokyo is very beautiful.
And people are out in the community in these lights at night, and they're very active and they're doing things. So I bet that was a bit different because their cultural is very different in that respect, that they gather around and do things. So what did you find that was kind of one of your most unusual or favorite experiences?
Probably, I've said this 10,000 times. Everybody is probably so upset when I keep saying it, but it was so clean. It was, because I would never forget the first day we were there, and I was chewing some gum. And I was just looking around. I was like, I can't spit this on this street. It's not going to happen. And everywhere you go, you will see somebody cleaning. Every bathroom I went in, somebody was cleaning. And they're not just like dreadfully cleaning, like they're happy to be clean in their country.
Well,
And
they're
it's very-
prideful. They're
Yes,
proud
ma'am.
of the fact that their country is clean and keeping it that way.
Right.
That is amazing. That's something that, you know, is kind of a bit different than what you see here, and especially what you mentioned about the fact that they're not cleaning as a chore, they're cleaning with pride.
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. That's just something that's so unique and was special for you guys to see and learn. So congratulations on the fact that you were both chosen, and I'm really happy that you had the experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon. Sit Up Dublin Natural Gas Department. Yvonne speaking. How may I help you? You're smelling gas inside your house? Eric, at 709 Bell Drive, they're smelling gas inside their house. Could you go check it out, please?
10-4, I'll be en route.
One of our service personnel is being dispatched. At this time, please evacuate your home and move to a safe destination away from the potential gas leak. Do not light a match, turn on any electrical switches or devices. Do not hang up your phone, place it down and leave. And please do not re-enter your home until a leak investigation has been conducted by our gas department.
Mr. Cates, I'm Brad. This is Eric. We're with the City of Dublin Gas. Are you say you called us about smelling some gas?
Yes.
Everybody outside? Well, what we're going to do, Eric's going to go to the side of the house, check the meter out, make sure everything's okay, nothing's running through the meter. I'm going to check around the door, and then we'll go inside and kind of see what's going on.
Okay.
Mr. Case, we went inside and checked around the ceiling, pretty much everywhere, all your appliances, and it looks like you're in good shape. The reason that we check up high around the ceiling is natural gas is lighter than air. It's always going to rise. We checked all your appliances. Absolutely nothing was indicated as far as gas leak goes. So I believe you're in good shape.
All right.
Ms. Case, we appreciate your business and being a natural gas customer. We're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. If there's anything that you ever need, give us a call. We'll be more than glad to come out and check anything that you need.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day, sir.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I thought I'd lost my business in that fire, but my agent was there before the flames were out. He said, together, we're going to rebuild. Our employees depended on it. My independent agent and auto owners made sure we didn't skip a beat. I mean, we didn't miss a single payroll.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there.
Or Insurance in Dublin is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
Okay, we are back now, and we have two more of the applicants and honorees that got to go on the program to Japan this year. We are with Anna Colby and Jordan Ashcroft. They are from you're homeschooled and you're from Trinity.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I just want to hear really about your experience, what this program and this opportunity meant to you.
It was such a great experience, learning about the different culture in Japan and seeing how different it is from Georgia, even from Atlanta, a different perspective. Tokyo was a big city, but it was nothing like Atlanta. And it was such a great honor to be over there representing Dublin for the 20th anniversary. And I had such a wonderful time. So,
I bet. Tell me a little bit about your experience.
Japan was absolutely incredible. It was probably one of my favorite places I've ever been. My favorite part definitely would be just meeting the people. Staying with our host family was just such an incredible experience to be able to stay with them in their homes and see what their everyday life is like. It was very eye-opening just how different their culture is from ours and how they live so simply, but yet so beautifully. It's so interesting to me.
I see that each of you have brought some items that you'd like to share and talk to us about. So tell us about what you have here.
okay, so this is a scrapbook my family made for me when I was at the train station about to leave. They handed this to me. And I was like, here, something to remember us by. And so they took pictures of us throughout our week with them, and they captured every single moment. When we went to the mall and ate, hanging out with the kids, playing video games. But it was so sweet of them, and I still text her on a daily basis, and she keeps me up to date. But the fact that they made me a scrapbook was so sweet of them, and it made me feel part of their family. So
That's great. And I imagine that these are people that will probably continue to be influences and part of your life for possibly years to come. I feel like if you stayed in their home, you made a connection with them and that, it could be something great for many years to come. Do you feel that way as well?
yes, ma'am, I do.
Awesome. Let's share something about your items that you brought with us today as well.
So the items that I have with me today this is a Kokeshi doll that we painted up in the mountains in Japan. And that was one of the activities that we did with our group. It's kind of a symbol of Japan as well as Osaka, where we stayed. And so it was just a really cool experience. We went up into these mountains, and they showed us how to make these dolls and paint them. And that was a really, really cool experience. And this hat is something that my host mom knitted for me before I got to the house. She loves to knit, she loves to sew, and so it was so cute. We got there, and me and my host sister that I was staying with, she made us both one. And right before we got there, she's like, it's going to be snowing in a few days.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because I heard that the mountains had snow on them when you guys went up to visit.
We were very unprepared for that, I think.
Unprepared.
Oh, so she helped you get prepared.
She did. She was already helping us out before we even got there.
Oh, that's great. What did you think about the cultural difference, specifically maybe the food? Was there anything that was kind of shocking or just extremely interesting to you that you'd like to talk about?
The octopus. I'm not the best eater, I will admit that, but I tried to expand my palate with the help of Anna. And the most interesting thing I tried was octopus. I mean, I've eaten calamari before, but octopus, the way that they cooked it and the way that they prepared it was really interesting and different. But I loved it. Like, it was one of my favorite things that I ate. So.
Well, that's great. You probably surprised yourself
yes,
a bit.
Yes, ma'am.
What about you?
It was very interesting. I love all types of food, and so it's really cool to get to kind of expand your horizons and see what Japanese food is, when you're there. I mean, it's different when you're here and you go to a Japanese restaurant. You don't really get the authentic, real thing. But when you get to sit in their homes and eat what they eat every day, probably one of the strangest things I ate while I was over there was either the raw sliced squid or the lotus root. That was interesting. Or bamboo root. That was also interesting. Yeah. But it was all delicious, and I was very surprised at some of the things that I thought was a little bit iffy.
Well, it sounds yummy overall.
It was great.
Do you find yourself like eating with chopsticks? Did you bring a pair home? Are you just sticking with your fork?
I did. They gave us chopsticks when we left, like our own, to bring home.
And so that was the first thing that I had when I came home was I had some rice with my chopsticks.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on being selected. I'm sure that you were each selected because you were outstanding in a variety of different ways. I hear that the criteria was pretty specific. So I think it's something that you should both be very proud of, proud to represent your school and your city on a trip like this.
Thank you.
So thanks for speaking with us today about your experience as well.
Thank you for having us.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. Okay, so now we are here with a couple of students from Trinity. We have Peyton Howard and Warren Smith, Peyton and Warren, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about their time in Japan as well. Peyton, tell me, what is it that you think potentially about you or yourself or your experience or your school grades that made you a candidate that was selected for this trip?
Well, I've always been told that I'm a very outgoing person. I love meeting new people. I love to travel. And I believe that I have this sense of, like, I'm really good at, like, sensing when a person is, like, I don't really know how to say it, but I feel like I'm good at talking to people.
Personal connections
Yeah,
with other people.
That's what I was going for. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's great. What about you?
I've always really been interested in Japanese culture, so that's really what inspired me to actually attempt to be considered for the trip. And when I did get accepted, I was really, really excited. So.
That's great. I see that each of you have some items here
Yes.
that you brought from your trip. So tell me about these items and kind of what they meant to you and where they're from, what they are.
So this is the dolls that the Japanese people make. They're all hand painted, and we got these from the YKK AP workers. They all handed them out after we had toured their campus, and their campus is gorgeous, and it was really cool to see how they make stuff, because usually when you think of YKK you think of zippers, but YKK AP is more of the architectural products, the windows, the doors, the counters, and so we got to see how all that was made, which was really cool. So this reminds me of.
And you'll have a special memento that you'll have for the rest of your
and
life.
it works great as a pencil holder too.
Ta-da. All right, talk to us about what you have.
I brought a fan that was given to me by the host family that I stayed with. So these were given to me and my roommate, Trey Miller. So this will always remind me of the good times we had with them. So
That's great. Host families. It had to be really unique to be fully embedded in a family. I mean, it had to be just an extra special aspect of the trip that you truly got to be embedded in a family, see how they live day to day, literally eat the foods that they would be eating, you know, on a daily basis, unlike maybe just a hotel or something, which would probably have international fare. Talk to me a little bit about your families and what that was like to be with them.
all right, Peyton, you can go first. You had quite the story.
So my host family, they their father got sick, very ill, the first day we were there. So we had to actually switch host families. We had to move to another host family. But the one night that we did get to stay with our family, we felt very welcomed. They let us play with their kids, even though they didn't know a lick of English. They were still very happy that we were there, and we still got to play Jenga, which is a no like talking game. So that was very good. And
now, is that a talking game in general or just in their society?
Well, you don't really have to like communicate.
Oh,
with
right,
someone.
to play the game, to understand the
that's
game. I see what you're saying.
You just gotta take out the blocks.
Eh.
So that was really fun, and then we got to our next host family was actually an English teacher to some Japanese kids. So we got to meet her students, and we got to meet their personalities, and that was really cool.
That sounds great. What about you?
I didn't have quite as many families as Peyton did. I only stayed with one. It was the mother and father. They had 3 children, and the grandfather lived with them as well. So that was a little bit different than in America. But the 3 children, it took them a few days to warm up to me and Trey, but once they did, we had a lot of fun playing Smash Bros. And soccer and basketball. So we did have a great time.
Things that just really kind of, you don't
Yes,
have to
ma'am.
necessarily have words for. It's just
Yes, ma'am.
being alive and, smiling and, just interacting with people in a normal everyday. Now, you talked about the grandfather living there. I want to say that, especially since you say that you're interested in the Japanese culture, that this is something that you see more common
Yes,
in
ma'am.
their culture.
Yes, ma'am.
The multi-family living and the respect for the elders
Yes,
and,
ma'am.
and all of that. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. The respect for the ancestors. The family structure, everybody kind of is super tight-knit, so a lot of people sometimes live together.
Yeah. I think the final question that I want to have, and I think it's just interesting and people want to know, was there anything that you found in the food groups or the food that you were served that you thought was just outrageous or surprising?
Yeah. Something that I can't get over is that I ate raw horse meat. It's considered kind of like a delicacy in Japan. It was more on the expensive side.
Mm-hmm.
But just the thought that that was once a horse that someone possibly rode, just I can't get that out of my head. That was probably the craziest thing I ate.
Just a cultural difference.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more normal to them and just foreign to us just because of the way we live.
Yeah.
Actually, the craziest thing that I ate was at our farewell dinner. Trey and I ate pig intestines without actually knowing what they were at all, and they were pretty great. They were really good, actually. So
Cooked, though.
Of course, yes.
Okay,
Cooked.
yeah.
But they were actually really good. So that was definitely surprising.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for being here and speaking with us today. I just, as with everyone, I just want to congratulate you for, being accepted into the program.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm certain, Mr. Roy said that everybody that was in the program really represented Dublin well, that there were no issues whatsoever, that they were proud to represent and be the chaperones with you guys. So just a final congratulations, and I hope it was an experience that'll just stay with you and potentially change, your perspective on life for the rest of your life.
Oh yes, it did. It was fun. It was a blast.
Yes, ma'am.
Can't wait to go back.
That's great. Thank you guys so much.